तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्।
शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। अगजा आननपद्मार्कम् गजाननमहर्निशम् अनेकदन्तम् भक्तानाम् एकदन्तमुपास्महे। उपास्महे। विनायका 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 विनाशक विनायका विनाशक विनायका गौरी नंदन हे शिवनंदना
सीतारामा श्री रघुरामा सीतारामा श्री रघुरामा सीतारामा श्री रघुरामा सीतारामा श्री रघुरामा आनंद रूपा हे गुणरामा आनंद रूपा हे गुणरामा आनंद रूपा हे गुणरामा आनंद रूपा हे गुणरामा दशरथ नंदन जानकी रामा दशरथ नंदन जानकी रामा दशरथ नंदन जानकी रामा दशरथ नंदन जानकी रामा पति विहारा श्री साई 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 रामा मधुवन रमना हे घनश्यामा मधुवन रमना हे घनश्यामा मधुवन रमना हे घनश्यामा मधुवन रमना हे घनश्यामा रास विलोला राधे श्यामा रास विलोला राधे श्यामा रास विलोला राधे श्यामा रास विलोला राधे श्यामा सीतारामा श्री रघुरामा सीतारामा श्री रघुरामा आनंद रूपा हे गुणरामा आनंद रूपा हे गुणरामा दशरथ नंदन जानकी रामा दशरथ नंदन जानकी रामा पति विहारा श्री साई रामा पति विहारा श्री साई रामा मधुवन रमना हे घनश्यामा मधुवन रमना हे घनश्यामा रास विलोला राधे श्यामा रास विलोला राधे श्यामा रास विलोला राधे श्यामा रास विलोला राधे श्यामा सीतारामा श्री रघुरामा
ओम हरि ओम भजो रे सदा ओम हरि ओम
ओम हरि ओम भजो रे सदा
ओम हरि ओम भजो रे सदा ओम हरि ओम
भजो रे सदा ओम हरि ओम
सत्यनारायण हरि ओम साई नारायण हरि ओम सत्यनारायण हरि ओम साई नारायण हरि ओम नारायण सत्यनारायण साई नारायण हरि ओम नारायण सत्यनारायण साई नारायण हरि ओम नारायण सत्यनारायण साई नारायण हरि नारायण सत्यनारायण साई नारायण हरि साई नारायण हरि साई नारायण हरि ओम हरि ओम भजो रे सदा ओम हरि ओम सत्यनारायण हरि ओम साई नारायण हरि ओम सत्यनारायण हरि ओम नारायण सत्यनारायण साई नारायण 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 हरि ओम 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 सत्यनारायण हरि ओम सत्यनारायण हरि ओम हरि ओम भजो रे सदा हरि ओम हरि ओम
प्रभु रामचंद्र के दूता हनुमंता आंजनेया।
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 हनुमंता 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 आंजनेया।
हनुमंता 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 आंजनेया।
हनुमंता 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 आंजनेया। हे पवन पुत्र हनुमंता बल भीमा आंजनेया।
पवन पुत्र हनुमंता बल भीमा आंजनेया।
हे पवन पुत्र हनुमंता बल भीमा आंजनेया।
हे पवन पुत्र हनुमंता बल भीमा आंजनेया।
बल भीमा बल भीमा 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 बल भीमा आंजनेया।
प्रभु रामचंद्र के दूता हनुमंता आंजनेया।
प्रभु रामचंद्र के दूता हनुमंता आंजनेया।
हनुमंता 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 आंजनेया।
हनुमंता 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 आंजनेया।
हे पवन पुत्र हनुमंता बल भीमा आंजनेया।
पवन पुत्र हनुमंता बल भीमा आंजनेया।
बल भीमा बल भीमा 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 बल भीमा आंजनेया।
प्रभु रामचंद्र के दूता हनुमंता आंजनेया। ओम शिवाय ओम शिवाय
ओम शिवाय ओम शिवाय
ओम शिवाय ओम शिवाय
ओम शिवाय ओम शिवाय।
शंभो शंकर ओम शिवाय
शंभो शंकर ओम शिवाय।
शंभो शंकर ओम शिवाय
शंभो शंकर ओम शिवाय।
ओम शिवाय ओम शिवाय
ओम शिवाय ओम शिवाय।
शंभो शंकर ओम शिवाय
शंभो शंकर ओम शिवाय।
शंभो शंकर ओम शिवाय
शंभो शंकर ओम शिवाय।
शंभो शंकर ओम शिवाय
शंभो शंकर ओम
manusho na cha deva yakshaha ना ब्राह्मण क्षत्रिय वैश्य शूद्र ना ब्रह्मचारी ना गृही वनस्थो अहम सत्य बोधक सत्यम शिवम सुंदरम. Offering our most reverential pranams at the divine lotus feet of our divine master, and offering our pranams to the Swami who is seated in every heart here. Revered elders, dear brothers and sisters, a very warm and loving Sairam to all of you. The poem that was just recited was given to us by Swami as the opening padyam in the Mahashivratri discourse of 1970, in which he defines himself. For most of mankind, Sri Satya Sai Baba means a great philanthropist who started several hospitals, schools, colleges, water projects, housing projects, etc. For many others, he is a great inspiration who set up the Satya Sai Seva organization, which is doing monumental work. For some ignorant ones, he is a man of miracles who by the wave of his hand produced objects and simply said, cancer cancelled, and there it went. And to most of us, to all of us, he is our dear Lord and God. While all of these definitions are there, how did Swami choose to define himself? Right? That should be the most important definition for us. He defined himself as Aham Satya Bodhaka. I am the teacher of truth. And what is this truth that he came to give mankind? That is what was captured in the very first bhajan that he gave to us. Manasa bhajare Guru Charanam, Dustara Bhavasagara Taranam. That is the truth that he came to teach. And just like all teachers, this teacher also conducted classes in this very hall. This was his classroom where all his students sat. He came twice a day to conduct his classes. And in his classes, just like all teachers, this teacher too gave notes and he gave lectures. Usually in any other teacher's class, the teacher talks and the student writes. But such is the compassion of this teacher, he was not sure about our capability of writing down notes. So he said, I will also give you a lecture and I will only write also and give you the notes. Because this examination is not an ordinary one. This is Dustara Bhavasagara Taranam, a very difficult Bhavasagara to cross. And therefore he did not leave anything to chance. He said, I will only give you the notes also that are necessary for this. And that is our Vahinis. For a moment, if you think, Swami often said, my life is my message. Today, when we miss his physical form, can we use the corollary of this? My message is my life. Bhagwan lives with each and every one of us. He continues to live in our hearts as long as we follow his message. If his message is there in our heart, he lives with us. So his message is his life today, and he lives through that. The Vahinis actually give us a sneak peek into the heart of God. When God comes down on mankind, on the earth, in between the entire mankind, what is it that he leaves? How does he think? What does he feel? The Vahinis capture that essence of avatar, of God on earth.
The first 16 years of my life, as you have seen, consisted of Bala Leelas, divine sport. And then the next 16 years, as you are experiencing now, consists of Mahimas, miracles and manifestations. Swami said, these Leelas and Mahimas, miracles and manifestations will give you Santosha. Santosha is short-lived. You have to catch this and convert into Ananda. Chira Sukhadaini Sai Janani. To help us convert this Santosha into Ananda, on the 32nd year, Bhagwan started his Upadesha, and that is how, as Sanjay Sahni sir mentioned, Bhagwan started the Sanatana Sarathi. Is it any surprise that the very first issue of Sanatana Sarathi carried Prema Vahini? Bhagwan always says, if you want to describe me, if there's one appellation for me, it is Prema Swarupa. Love is my form. And even in Prema Vahini, only in the 18th chapter of Prema Vahini, you will find elucidation of Prema. Even though the word Prema is so inviting, so endearing, so light, so pleasing to hear, but the concept of love is so deep, so dense, so difficult to fathom. Perhaps for this reason, Swami, 3 months after starting the Prema Vahini, also started Sandeha Nivarini. So here, he was the questioner as Bhakta, and he was answering the questions. So Prema Vahini and Sandeha Nivarini came as two simultaneous streams, and Swami added a third stream in January 1959, Dhyana Vahini. For 12 months, Swami wrote these 3 Vahinis together. It was like the gush of irresistible love for mankind flowing in the form of divine wisdom. And then came Prashanti Vahini, Jnana Vahini, the 5th anniversary of Sanatana Sarathi, 1962. Swami started Dharma Vahini, and Swami said, anyone who subdues egoism, anyone who destroys bestial tendencies, who controls his selfish desires, and does not take to the natural tendency of considering the body as his self, is on the path of Dharma. Over 13 essays, Swami delineated the practical way of a dharmic life. And after Dharma Vahini, Bhagwan started Upanishad Vahini. As sir was mentioning, it stunned Professor Kasturi, the scholastic wisdom and the succinct expression of Bhagwan. 1964, Bhagwan was touring the length and breadth of Andhra Pradesh. At the same time, a beautiful environment was unfolding in Vrindavan. The Sai Krishna was now recreating his Vrindavan, and thus Sai Krishna wanted to give his message, and so started Gita Vahini. And as Gita Vahini started, Bhagwan simultaneously now started Prashnottara Vahini, knowing how people always have these questions once they start reading the Gita. 1966, Puttaparthi was separated. Prashanti Nilayam was separated from Puttaparthi. In April 1967, the first All India Conference of Satya Sai organizations was held. In November 1967, Swami went to the city of Mumbai to do the foundation stone laying ceremony of Dharmakshetra. 6 months later, Swami was in Mumbai again to open this lotus abode. 4 days later, in May 16, 1968, the first World Conference of Sri Satya Sai organizations was held. And after that, Swami was on the plane to East Africa. When Swami returned, he inaugurated the College for Women in Anantapur. Immediately followed the College for Men in Vrindavan. Now the students started coming to Bhagwan, and guess the Vahini that Swami was writing now. The sweet, syrupy tale of Bhagavata Vahini, the beautiful story of the relationship between Krishna, the gopis, and Gopalas. And as Bhagwan started instilling in the young minds the tenets of Indian culture, Swami wrote the story of the most ideal, among men in the history of mankind. Purushottama, Ramakatha Rasavahini started, and Bhagwan continued this series for 91 months, over 8 years. It was a mammoth effort. Even after Swami completed this marathon offering to humanity, Swami did not say, oh, I finished such a big project, let me just take a break. I finished, just like we say, I finished this mega service project, this weekend I will rest. Swami did not do that. The next month itself, Swami started Bharatiya Paramartha Vahini. And very soon, Swami merged Paramartha Vahini, Bharatiya Paramartha Vahini. Swami renamed it as Satya Sai Vahini, so clearly telling us that Satya Sai is nothing but the stream of Indian spiritual values which are eternal and blemishless. In Satya Sai Vahini, Swami says, there are 3 ways you can attain God. There are 3 activities that will get you the grace of God. The first, Swami says, activities which are not prompted by personal desire. Second, activities which emanate from unselfish love. Third, prayer arising from pure hearts. And then Swami said, love God seeking nothing, because anything that you get will be less than himself. Love God with no want, no desire. That is the essence of being a Bharatiya. And as the Satya Sai Vahini concluded, we are in 1981. Bhagwan gifted the world Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, and no prizes for guessing which Vahini Bhagwan was writing now. Vidya Vahini. And as Bhagwan was now instilling deep philosophical thoughts into the minds of the young students, Swami penned Sutra Vahini. Swami made the Brahma Sutras easily accessible to common people. 25 years had passed, 14 series had been written, 312 months had gone by, but the Lord was not done yet. 1984-85, when a beautiful Leela of Bhagwan was unfolding now, once again in Vrindavan, Swami inaugurated the Trai Vrindavan, and now Swami started Leela Kaivalya Vahini. Even when this last Vahini concluded in October 1984, Swami's involvement in Sanatana Sarathi never stopped. He chose the editors. He was particular about the articles, and till the last year of his physical sojourn, Swami used to personally select the picture that would go with the Sanatana Sarathi. It was like it was his child. To me, the greatest and the most grandest expression of Bhagwan's love is these Vahinis, because these Vahinis, Swami said, will give us not Santosha, they will give us Ananda. Swami says, I give you what you want, so that one day you will want what I want to give you. But here was an occasion, even before we asked, even before we even prayed, unasked, Bhagwan gave us and continued to give us. It was a torrential flow. I feel, having got this precious treasure, we have to cherish it. We have to be eternally grateful. And most importantly, we have to practice it. Because Swami will always love us, no matter how weak we are, how faulty we are, how incapable we are. But it is up to us to see, can we bring his smile on his face? Can the loving mother look at us and feel, I have taken so much pains and thought, finally, here is someone who lived up to all the painstaking efforts I put to create this beautiful gem of creation. Let us make our Swami proud. Thank you.
Sairam brother, we have heard from Sri Sanjay Sahni sir and Dr. Sri Rangarajan sir tell us all about Vahinis. Now, can you summarize the difference between Vahinis and Satya Sai Speaks? Isn't it enough if we read Satya Sai Speaks alone?
That's a wonderful question. I'll call upon Brother Prem to take us through that.
Sairam, thank you for that question. The simplest answer to that, the simplest difference is, one is the written word of Bhagwan, whereas the Satya Sai Speaks is the spoken word compiled to form the books. But that is the simplest answer to give. But if we look at it from the point of view of the content, from the point of view of the literature, there is a lot of subtle difference between the two. And I think it is important to dwell on that for a couple of minutes. Sometimes when Swami would give a discourse, Swami would tell this to a few devotees, that when he takes to the podium, Swami would scan the audience. And Swami would pick questions from the minds of the people in the audience and answer them in his discourse. In fact, there's a very beautiful incident. And this was the very first discourse that Swami gave in the year 1948 in the town of Karur. Swami took to the podium. First time Swami was giving a discourse. Swami gave a discourse. At the end of it, Swami said, if anybody has any questions, you can ask me. And there was pin drop silence. Later, the organizers came to know that among the audience, there were a few people who were rationalists, atheists, who had come with a list of questions they wanted to throw at Swami. But when Swami said, do you have any questions? There was pin drop silence, because probably in his discourse, Swami answered all those questions unasked. So in that sense, if you look at Swami's discourse, the discourse is based on the audience in front of him. There are many discourses that Swami gave during certain festivals. If you go into the Satya Sai Speaks, there are very interesting references. Swami gave a discourse when the first telephone line came to Prasanthi Nilayam. Swami gave a discourse when electricity came to Prasanthi Nilayam. Swami gave a discourse when the first bank was opened in Prasanthi Nilayam. So all of these discourses are contextual. There was a festival, Swami was speaking to Sevadal, Swami was speaking to Balavikas Gurus. So the discourses can be said to be contextual, context-driven, and based on the devotees who are sitting in front of Swami. But when we look at the Vahinis were very intense, specific, focused on topics. As Brother Bishu said, when you look at all of these topics, you can make out they're all referring to one particular aspect of spiritual wisdom. There is another very beautiful thing about the Vahinis. In one of Swami's padyams, Swami speaks about the role an avatar comes to play. And Swami would say, Yugadharma paddatul vigalitamaayunda nayamarga munatrippi nadupu koraku. In every yuga, the idea of morality and dharma gets contorted. And Swami said the avatar comes to set right that idea of morality and dharma and to lead people on the right path. In the same padyam, in later lines, Swami says, Kala sandigdha vigra suktulayunta bhashyartha gopyamul paluku koraku. Very beautiful words. Swami says, bhashyartha gopyamul. Many of these, you have the Prasthanatraya, you have the Upanishads, the Gita, the Ramayana. Many people have written commentaries on all of these works. But these commentaries have flaws in them because no human mind is without flaws. And when you look at the titles of the Vahinis, you will find that many of them are about established texts. There's one about the Ramayana, there's one about the Bhagavatam, about the Brahma Sutras, about the Upanishads, and there are on Dharma, on Vidya. So all of these are part of Swami's mission of what Swami refers to as setting right Yuga Dharma and to teach the subtleties and secrets in some of these scriptures and bhashyams or commentaries. The final point I would like to make is, Brother Bishu made a reference to Prema Vahini. The first Vahini Swami writes it Prema Vahini, and the word Prema appears not till half the book is over. And if you think, why did Swami name it Prema Vahini then? Because whatever comes from Swami is only Prema Vahini. It is only a flow of love. If he speaks, it is out of his love. If he writes, it is a flow of his love. If he gives us his silence, that is his love. If he is angry with us, that is his love. So whatever Swami gives us, it is his love. Then what is the difference between the Vahinis and Sathya speaks? I go to a doctor, I tell him, doctor, I'm not well, I have this malady. The doctor gives me 2 pills. Both pills have the same color, the same shape, the same size. Will I tell the doctor, they both look similar, can't I take just one? The Swami who gave thousands of discourses found purpose in writing these 300 odd articles. Doesn't it give us enough reason that there is a purpose to them? And they play a very vital purpose in our spiritual sadhana. And that is why, in spite of reading the Sathya Sai Speaks, listening to Swami's discourses, the study of the Vahinis play a very vital role in our Swadhyaya. Yes, can we have the next question?
That was wonderful, brother. Can you please share with us those specific points in the Vahinis which have inspired you?
So we'll ask the brothers here to come one by one and share what has inspired them about the various Vahinis that they've read.
That's a very interesting and beautiful question, because really lifetimes will not be enough to go through all Vahinis in depth. By Bhagwan's grace, we got the opportunity to go through the Ramakatha Rasa Vahini for 3 years, presenting them as programs in the afternoon satsang on Radio Sai. It was such a beautiful thing, because I personally always felt, what is there in the Ramayana that I don't know? I've heard the story so many times. I've watched the serial so many times. What is new in the Ramayana? But dear brothers and sisters, the Ramakatha Rasa Vahini is not just the Ramakatha, because it is the Rasa Vahini, the flow of the essence of the Ramayana. We have Valmiki writing the Ramayana, we have Tulsidas writing the Ramayana, we have Kamban writing the Ramayana. So many people have written the Ramayana, but I think this is very unique because we have Rama writing the Ramayana, my autobiography. And so we get, as Brother Amai said, a peep into the heart of God. Because what we think is very important, the big battle between Maricha and Subahu and Rama, where he vanquished 1,000,000 demons, Swami completes it in one sentence. Rama launched an arrow and they were gone. Finished. Because I felt, this is for the first time. We have always heard Rama, Ekavachan, Ekabana, Ekapatni. One word, one arrow, one patni. It is only in Swami's Ramakatha you see that adherence. One bana, yes, one arrow and they're finished. So this kind of authenticity that comes from Ramakatha Rasavahini, I just wanted to state that to show how wonderful that is. But the personal lesson I learned from the Ramakatha Rasavahini is on how we should yearn for God, how we should seek God. And that we learn from Sita. Very beautifully, some things are clarified by Bhagwan. First of all, Swami states that Maya is of 2 kinds. Vidya Maya and Avidya Maya. And Swami says, Vidya Maya works in sync with God. But because it has taken a role in the human form, it has to lead a life of a human form, but it will be in sync with the Lord. Avidya Maya is what possibly most of us suffer from. I definitely suffer from, where we get sucked into Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, forget our divinity. So Swami clearly writes that there are points where Sita is in Vidya Maya, where Sita is Vidya Maya, and points where Sita is Avidya Maya. Swami makes it very clear, Sita is flawless, Rama is flawless. And that is why, just before that golden deer episode, Swami writes, Rama calls Lakshmana and tells Lakshmana, I want some tubers, go and get roots and tubers. And as Lakshmana leaves, he turns to Sita and says, Sita, of course, these are not his exact words, but I'm just, Swami says that Rama tells Sita, Sita, our time has come. Are we ready? Yes, let's go ahead with the drama. That is how they discuss the plan. Say, see, if we remain in our divine self, we won't be able to do this. So Sita, please place your divinity in with the fire. This is what was returned back during the Agni Pariksha. So you keep it now and come on, you behave like how a normal human will behave, because for years to come, people will see us and judge us as humans. So we should set an ideal for them. I too, Sita, I will also mourn, I will also cry, I will do everything that a human needs to do. Are you ready? Sita says, yes, my lord, we are ready. And then Lakshmana comes with the tubers. And then Swami tells how Sita looks. This is the Sita who said, I don't want Ayodhya, I don't want anything, I want Rama, Rama, Rama. And now she says, Rama, I want that golden deer. And Rama says, okay, I will get. But this is a lesson for us. It is not Sita's weakness. It is a lesson for me, for all of us, that, see, as long as you say you want Rama, you have peace, joy, even if you are in the heart of the forest. But the minute Kama comes, small desire, it's not that God won't fulfill. Sita, you asked for a golden deer, take, I will give you the golden city. She got Lanka, but Sita was not happy. She lost all her happiness and peace. It takes just one moment of distraction. When we yearn for God, it has to be a continuous, consistent yearning, not a Sunday morning yearning or a Thursday evening yearning. It has to be a continuous yearning. And then the final aspect, continued with this yearning only, is in the end. I would like to emphasize on this because this was another most misunderstood part which I had never got a sufficiently good answer. I was never convinced. Whatever you may say, Rama did wrong, in sending Sita. He should not have done that. People have given so many explanations. Till I read Swami's explanation. Swami writes that Rama ruled for one yuga with Sita. And then one day this complaint comes. The messenger says that Rama, I'm very, very sorry to tell this, but I don't want to tell. Rama says, no, you say. And he says, no, this is how they are speaking. The next sentence Swami writes is, Rama goes to Sita and says, Sita, I am very happy with you. Though you have never asked for it, I am granting you the greatest boon. Go home. And Swami writes that Sita falls at Rama's feet and her avatar is over. That's how Swami writes in the Ramakatha Rasavayani. The Vidya Maya Sita is finished. But to teach us a lesson, Avidya Maya Sita rises now. And she says, Lord, you are very happy, then grant me one boon. Rama says, what is that boon you want? She says, I want to see all these hermits and I want to visit hermitages. Can I go, Rama? Now, though Swami does not explicitly write this, it is again the same mistake that we do in Avidya. Having got Rama, when Sita said, I want a golden deer, Rama gave the golden city. But Sita was not happy. She said, no, I want Rama, I want Rama, I want Rama. And when she yearned for Rama, Rama walked across the forest, bonded with monkeys and bears, crossed the ocean and got her. That is how the Lord will come for us if we yearn for Him. But after having done that, He goes and tells Sita, what do you want, Sita? I think the Lord expects, after having come for us, He has handpicked us, He has chosen us and He has given Himself to us. And then when He says, what do you want, Bangaru? I think He expects us to say, Swami, we have you, what do we want, Swami? Instead, if we say, Swami, now that I have got you, Swami, that heart disease, little money, the travel, this is the foolishness mistake we do. And that is why Rama tells Lakshmana, take Sita to the forest. In spite of whatever she says, let her be there. But then the question, why did he punish Sita? Read the Ramakatha Rasavahini. Swami writes, when Sita is left in the forest, immediately Valmiki finds her and Sita finds great fulfillment and peace in life, talking only about Rama, living amongst the most beautiful and wonderful people. In the meanwhile, Ayodhya, for reasons unknown, gets drowned into sorrow. Everybody is sad. People start dying. In fact, this is the time when Kausalya, Sumitra, Kaikeyi, all three pass away. Everyone is dejected and depressed. Swami writes. That is why Rama decides that I think I have to hold a Ashwamedha Yagna, otherwise Ayodhya won't be happy. Dear brothers and sisters, whom did Rama punish? Sita or Ayodhya? Ayodhya was punished for casting aspersions on Sita. Sita was never punished because Sita had a very peaceful and happy life. This was the clarification that I got. And of course, as I said, the final point, the lesson, the take-home lesson we should keep in mind always. Never, never ever think, now that I have got Swami, now let me try to achieve the world. It would be great foolishness. Never. It's a lifelong effort till we get merger, till we become Swami. Our desire should be only Swami. And that is why the next time Sita meets Rama, she says, Rama, enough, no need any more of this drama. This is after Lavakusha have defeated Rama, no? Swami writes, Sita says, enough, nothing I want. She sees Rama, just merges, goes back to earth. May we yearn for you, dear Lord, like how Sita yearned. Whether we are in Ayodhya, whether we are in Aranya, or whether we are in Lanka, surrounded by demons, let us learn that our focus should be Rama, Rama, Sai Rama. Jai Sai Ram.
Om Jai Jagadish Hari Swami Satya Sai Hari Bhakta Jana Samrakshaka Bhakta Jana Samrakshaka Bhakti Maheshwara Om Jai Jagadish Hari Shivadara Srikara Sarva Pranapati Swami Sarva Pranapati Ashrita Kalpaladika Ashrita Kalpaladika Abharvanava Om Jai Jagadish Hari Mata Pita Guru Devam Pariyantayunire Swami Pariyantayunire Nada Brahma Jaganatha Nada Brahma Jaganatha Nagendra Sharana Om Jai Jagadish Hari Omkara Rupa Shiva Sai Mahadeva Satya Sai Mahadeva Mangala Arati Anduko Mangala Arati Anduko Mandala Giridhara Om Jai Jagadish Hari Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Jai Sadguru Deva Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Jai Sadguru Deva Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Jai Sadguru Deva Shanti 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 Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti 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 Jai Bolo Bhagwan Shri Satya Sai